I don't even drink soda. Like, I gave up soda, and actually I gave up only diet soda because I didn't drink regular sugared soda, which has nothing to do with pinball, I get it. But I don't drink soda. Yet here I am, 12:35 in the morning, coming to you, certainly not live, from Plano, Texas, just near Frisco, Texas. And I have a Diet Dr. Pepper here. I don't know what I'm doing. We're going off the rails, folks. We are going off the rails. Coast2Coast Pinball 1, episode 149. Let's go. Welcome to Coast2Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast. It's a commentary. I'm a man out of quarters and drinking a Diet Dr. Pepper because we're in Texas, and I associate Texas with Dr. Pepper and big trucks, which we have both of tonight. Day one, night one, opening night of the Texas Pinball Festival has come and gone. I was in attendance. I flew in from Boston, Massachusetts, especially for the Texas Pinball Festival. Didn't just come to the Dallas area for the fun of it. So awesome. I mean, they opened up at 5 o'clock. There's like 400 pinball machines, a few arcade games, tons of cool vendors. More vendors than last year for sure. There was a giant 5 tiered plus tournament going on. 5 IFPA sanctioned tournament banks plus a women's division, a parent-child division, and I think, what was the other one? Kids Bump and Win. I don't even exactly know what that is, but kids could bump and win, apparently, tonight at the Texas Pinball Festival. So, welcome. Thanks for joining me on episode 149. I want to address something that has kind of come up from some listeners of the show based on something I have said on the show that is... It's ruffled some feathers. It's gotten some people... I don't know. I think it's changed the way some of you think about me, maybe. And I guess, I mean, probably those of you who have emailed or made little notes to me on Facebook about it probably know what I'm talking about. And, of course, I'm talking about my misuse of the word backslash. Yeah. I have given out some websites, and I have mistakenly called a slash a backslash a few times, and I've been forwarded parody websites making fun of people who make this very common yet dumb mistake of saying, like, you know, reddit.com backslash something. It's actually not backslash, it's forward slash. So I just kind of wanted to start episode 149 and, you know, come clean to you, friendly listeners. Get that off my chest. I'm sorry. I will never, ever, ever, at least I will try to never, ever, ever mistakenly say backslash when I mean, or what it should be meant as a forward slash. I'm sorry. Let's talk about pinball. So, I spent a lot of the first evening here at the Texas Pinball Festival playing in tournaments, because I'm kind of, if you haven't noticed listening to this show, all geeked up and excited about playing in competitive pinball tournaments. And Papa roundly kicked my butt, and I guess I needed the comfort and love of a Herb-style tournament to caress me and gently ease my confidence back up a little bit, because... You know, since this show started and I got all, like, super mega obsessed with pinball, because I've always loved pinball, but, you know, obviously when you start doing a podcast and you're doing 5 to 10 episodes a month about a subject, you get really into that subject. I've become a much better pinball player, and then as I started branching out and playing more competitively, my nerves have gone away. I'm more in the moment. It's fun and not nerve-wracking. You know, basically less sweat dripping off of my hands is what I'm trying to tell you. So there's 5 banks of games set up with IFPA endorsements at the Texas Pinball Festival, and it's a little confusing. I was talking with one of the very kind and friendly scorekeepers whose name freaking escapes me. I'm sorry. I met a lot of people tonight who was so helpful and so fun and a listener of the show. So we will find your name for sure tomorrow. I want to say it was Mark, and in fact it was Mark. So Mark, thank you. And he said to me when I was registering for a game, getting on a game, he goes, "Well, just say nice things about us." And I'm like, "Of course I'll say nice things about you." I said, "Except I wish you named your game banks." And he said, "Yeah, me too." Or just had the sign up there that said tournament, because a lot of people don't know. People come to these shows maybe because they saw it on the news, because there's newscasts from the Texas Pinball Festival, or they're staying in the hotel and they're like, "I'm going to pay to go to the festival for pinball that's down there." Or they're just love pinball and come to their first festival, and when you walk in there's all these games, and it's like, oh, you're like a zombie. You go to the light, you go to the flashing, blinking light bulbs and moving parts and games. Well, the first games you see are the tournament games, and you can't just walk up and play those. And I saw people try to just walk up and play those actually tonight. And the later it got, the more I saw it trying to happen. So there could have been better signage. I think that's really important for people running shows, running tournaments. If you're going to have multiple banks that are sort of separate for different kind of concurrently running tournaments, label them. Papa's pretty good about that. It was very confusing for me, and I kind of know what I'm doing, I think, and had a program in my hand. I couldn't figure out which bank was what, and it was very important to me because some of the finals for some of these banks are at times where I'm not available because I'm doing this seminar tomorrow night with Mark Ritchie from Coast2Coast Pinball Live, and I can't play in one of the Texas Shootout because the finals start at 8. My seminar starts at 9. That would just be ridiculous to spend money trying to qualify for that. And then also some of the finals for the Retro and the Wizards are on Sunday. I don't know if I'm going to be here Sunday. I got to get back home, or at least I got to get back to work, more specifically, if not home. And so there's 2 I was trying to play. And once I figured it all out, I got it. But I had some fun. I actually did throw one game on America's Most Haunted, which is in a bank that I'm not really playing, just to see what I could get up there. And I did put up a 20 million point score, which was pretty good throughout the day. So anyway, the banks I'm focused on and spent most of my day at the Texas Pinball Festival are the Texas Vintage Bank, which is EMs exclusively, and the Texas Tilt Bank, which is sort of a mix of modern DMD era games. So just for posterity's sake, in case I want to listen back to this in like 40 years and know what it was that I was doing here, the games that are in the let's do the Tilt Bank first, because I didn't play that as much, and I was just sort of short on time. I was trying to earn an auto qualification into the finals, which I did not do, and we'll get to that in a second, in the Vintage Bank. But the way it is there's 6 games. You have to play all 6 games, and your score gets you points based on how high your score is, et cetera, et cetera. Total combined score is how you qualify. Top 5 from Friday and the top 5 from Saturday. Scores do not carry over, so separate qualifying days. Top 5 from each day qualify, and then another chunk of people, and this is where it gets confusing. I believe it's the next 12 people total combined score for Friday and Saturday also go to the finals. I'm not totally clear on that, which is, I guess, a little bit of a pet peeve for me, playing in a tournament where I don't fully understand how the qualifying works. But I did know that top 5 qualified, so I was working on that. So the Texas Tilt tournament, which is 90s and 2000s DMD games, the games that were in that bank were Attack from Mars, Congo, Tales from the Crypt, Terminator 3, The Walking Dead Pro, The Simpsons Pinball Party. Is that 6? Because this list I'm looking at is actually not accurate. Terminator 3. So anyway, so those are basically the games. So I did my best, and I haven't even looked where I finished, but I did okay. I put up a few scores, was not super focused on that. And I guess for prosperity's sake, that's not right. I don't know. I got to stop using big words. I went to Arizona State. What can I say? It's too late at night. Let's also look where I finished up the day in the Texas Tilt. So the games were Attack from Mars, Congo, Sims Pinball Party, Terminator 3, Walking Dead, Tales from the Crypt. I ended up 20th out of the 50 that they show here. Top qualifier today was Mr. Bob Matthews. So, not much to say about that. Walking Dead kicked my butt. I actually put up a decent Attack from Mars score on a game that was playing very difficult. Early, I had a great great Tales from the Crypt score that actually didn't end up being so great as the day went on. As you will see in these tournaments, there seems to be good players that come in real strong towards the end of the day, and that was definitely happening here. So let's look at the Vintage Bank, because the Vintage Bank is the one that I spent the most time on. And these are older games. Obviously, we're talking about EM games, electromechanical games. Because when you think of Nate Shivers and Coast2Coast Pinball, I know the first thing that pops into your mind is little tiny flippers and, little kick-out saucers and lots of rollover lanes and super tight tilts and games that don't score over 1,000. I know that's what you think of. This guy, Mr. Electromechanical. Anyway. Did I mention the top 5 got an automatic qualification into the finals? Top 5, right? So at 11:50, cutoff was at midnight. At 11:50, yours truly, host of Coast2Coast Pinball, Mr. EM, was in 5th place. 11:50, 10 minutes to go. So you'd think, oh, that's good, right? I was even in 5th place by a few points. And I saw bad things happening. I saw guys desperately scrolling on their phones, looking at the scores, looking at what games they could play, and jumping on games. And I was like, well, that's not good, because I was done. I had used all my tickets I had bought. I wasn't buying any more. I was like, well, I'm just going to let it happen. So, finishing out the day 1, with 468 points, in 6th place, 1 out of the auto-qualifying. That'd be me, this guy, Mr. EM. So let's try and be cup half full here, folks. I'm the 6th place day 1 qualifier. 6th place. Me, this guy. Pretty ridiculous, if I do say so myself. Very proud of myself here. I concentrated. I bettered my scores throughout the day. Games were hard. Games that I had never even seen in person before. I can't even remember. Capersville? You ever play Bally Capersville? Ridiculously tough game with the ability to steal locked balls from the player before you, which there was a lot of talk amongst the players. Is it an advantage to go in if somebody has 2 locked balls and start a game right after that so you can start multi-ball real quick? And I think at first everyone thought, oh yeah, that's the thing to do. And there was even some conversation like, why is this game in this tournament? Why are we allowing a qualifying game, to have locked balls being left over? Well, when you see the game and how it plays and how kind of, I don't want to say not worth it the multi-ball is, but just it's not your typical multi-ball for certain. Ball times are very, very short. It didn't seem like that big of a deal. It was really tough. So this bank was Capersville. Never played it before. Centigrade 37. Okay, so I knew that game. I knew the rules. I knew how to play that game. I can't read these little tiny things. Certainly Grand Prix was in there, a game that I actually really loved. Central Park was in there. Sweethearts, a game I had never seen in person. Very, very tough game. Royal Guard, another game I didn't know. And then I can't remember. Oh, no, that's what it is. Royal Guard. So Royal Guard, Grand Prix, Central Park, Sweethearts, Centigrade 37, Capersville. I did good today on these games. I got to tell you, I love Grand Prix and the rules on that game. That's a really fun game. Huge fan of Centigrade 37. This one was brutal. Wasn't in the best of shape. It was on sale for $1,200. I was looking at the sticker all day. If it was local, I'd probably buy it and keep it. But it was in good enough shape to play for sure. Royal Guard, Sweethearts, and Central Park can all go jump in a big lake if I had my way. Royal Guard probably had the tightest tilt I have ever seen on a pinball machine. I saw guys tilting the game. By the way, this is an old vintage EM tilt that ends your entire game even on ball 1. And I saw guys tilt out on ball 1 just from, trying to slap save or hit the flippers too hard. And when I walked up, I wish I could remember who it was. Somebody who I believe knew who I was and was being very friendly to me stopped me and said, "Hey man, that thing tilts if you breathe on it too heavy. Careful." And I put up a pretty good score there, actually. And that score held up most of the day. I think I did better later in the day. But I got lucky on Sweethearts and Royal Guard. Very lucky. My early scores held up for a long time. I worked on Grand Prix. I mean, I worked on that game. It was something to try and get the spinner hit, because it was such an early spinner shot on a flipper, really vertical flippers, you know what I mean? But like, you know, they were very almost up and down looking, and it was tough. So much fun though. I love playing classics and EMs in tournament settings. It's a lot of fun. So I had, you know, the way they score these games is top score gets 100 points, second score 90, and then 85, and then down, I believe. Is that how we're doing it? I don't know. I'm probably wrong here. But anyway, something to that effect. And, you know, I had pretty balanced points here. Capersville, I had 80 points. Centigrade, 37. I had 76 points. Central Park, 78 points. Royal Guard, 72 points. Grand Prix, 81 points. Sweethearts, 81 points. So, overall, very happy. The way this works, since I didn't get the auto-qualifying, is I need to play again tomorrow. I need to play these games again, and then the combined score, or I could be top 5 tomorrow, which I guess is possible, or an at-large bid is the top 5, the top scores combined from the 2 days. Those people who didn't get auto-qualifying will qualify. I'll keep you posted. I'm going to run into some time constraints tomorrow because I got a lot going on. So, anyway, that's just a little summation of Nate playing in tournaments tonight. More to come tomorrow, I guess, for sure. So, let me catch my breath here. Posterity is the word I'm looking for, right? Posterity, not prosperity. What was I saying? Why am I awake? It's craziness. So, anyway, let's talk about some of the stuff that I saw at the Texas Pinball Festival. This is a really good show just to go and see a lot of great pinball machines in excellent shape, because a lot of them are owned by very prideful collectors and owners who have modded the games. A lot of games with great lights and armor and cool modifications done, awesome toppers, a lot of that going on. Fun. The pinball amusement sales company here that hosts the auction brings a ton of games, most of those games in very nice shape. As far as like news coming out of this show, I mean, it's early. We got all day Saturday, and you know, probably not much happened on Sunday as far as that goes. But as far as news goes, I don't know that there's going to be a lot of like, oh my gosh, did you hear about this news coming out of the Texas Pinball Festival? It's definitely a showcase for projects that are, you know, already underway or about to be, you know, complete, that type of thing. And there's a number of them that I want to kind of touch on here and just give you my very first impressions from day one. I think that it goes without saying that one of the things you can't help but notice walking the floor of the Texas Pinball Festival is the presence of Spooky Pinball's America's Most Haunted. There's one in the tournament area. There's multiple America's Most Haunted in different booths. Spooky Pinball has their own booth with a game and T-shirts, and Charlie and KT, and it's pretty cool. Got to speak with Charlie a little bit. I think I may end up on his show talking about off-topic subjects, ... and got to talk to him and Ben. They're having a great show. I watched someone walk up to his booth with just a wad of cash, and Charlie was like, oh, hey, you're buying a game, and he sold a game right in front of me. It was like he scripted it. Pretty awesome. I think he sold more than one game today. In fact, I know he did. I just don't know what the number actually is, and I don't know if he'd want me to say, but I know he sold multiple games today, and he actually let me know in the past couple weeks he sold a bunch of games. These games will, I think, just guessing off of what I've kind of heard from, you know, chatting with the folks at Spooky Pinball and the buzz I'm seeing and the emails I'm getting, this game will be sold out by Easter? When's Easter? That's coming up? Is that next week? Maybe not next week. It'll be sold out in the second quarter of this year. If you were thinking about waiting till, you know, the summertime to buy this game, it'll be gone. It's gone. The game's great. People are digging the game. People came here to play the game and then bought the game. So I think that's the biggest endorsement you can possibly get, is that I wasn't going to buy your game, then I came here and played it, now I'm buying your game. So that's pretty awesome. So definitely a win for Spooky Pinball. I just, I saw Chuck at the Midwest Gaming Classic just a little over a year ago, and his demeanor was that of, excitedly nervous. Like, hey, we got these games. Please buy them. I hope this works. I don't know exactly when you'll get your game. To now I see a guy who is like, yeah, we're building games, folks. And he's talking about game number 2 on his podcast, and they're working feverishly on that. They are, partnered with Ben Heck on game 1. I think Ben's working on parts of game 2. Ben's released a code update. Good times for Spooky Pinball, and it's pretty awesome that they drove down here to the Texas Pinball Festival. I believe they brought 2 or 3 games, and they'll be going home with 0 games. Unless they buy something here and take back home to Wisconsin. So, because there are a lot of games for sale here, for sure. So, that was one of my big takeaways just from the very beginning, was a lot of people coming up to me knowing that I own America's Most Haunted, and this is their first time to play it, and telling me, oh my gosh, this game is awesome, I totally see why you bought it now. So, and I've actually had a few emails just like in the last 48, 72 hours that I have not responded to from listeners of the show saying, I did not want to let you convince me to buy the game, but I'm buying the game. So, pretty awesome to see such a happy, good, successful story from a small company in pinball happening. So, also, I got to spend some time on Lexi Lightspeed Galaxy Girl on the P3, Multimorphic P3 platform today. So, if you haven't been following along with Coast2Coast Pinball over the past year plus, Multimorphic Pinball has I don't even know what you call it, a hybrid video / pinball machine. It's a pinball machine with flippers and pop bumpers and ramps and targets that the playfield is a video screen. And not just any video screen. It's a video screen that can track the ball and move along with what's going on at the field, show you what to shoot at. It's deep. And I've been watching it, and I've gotten to play it a few times over the last, couple years now. And I've always been very blown away at the concept and been very, intrigued and impressed by what Jerry from Multimorphic has set out to do. And I want to support it as best I can, but I've always walked away, and I think I've told Jerry this, and if I didn't, I'll tell him tomorrow. I've always walked away thinking, that's really cool. It's not quite pinball, but it's really cool. Well, I got to play the game today, and they have a couple different versions at the show. They have the one that I've played before in the steel cabinet. It's a cabinet, literally a pinball cabinet made of metal. So it's really heavy and hard to nudge and doesn't really feel like a pinball machine. Then they have one now going up and running in a wood cabinet, a more traditional pinball cabinet, which would be the production that they would actually build the game in. And they have much more fleshed out and updated software and gameplay, because Lexi Lightspeed is a game about a crash landing on Earth, and there's aliens, and there's a Sasquatch Bigfoot-looking dude that follows Lexi Lightspeed around, and there's a bunch of different modes. And I felt like the first versions of that were a little too Super Nintendo looking. And that was one of my problems with some of the animation in video on the screen, was it was just a little too old generation video game looking, and it needed to be a little bit better. And I will tell you this, from the last time I played it, which Expo, I'm guessing 7 months ago, to now in late March, it's way more like pinball. And I don't know if all the changes were just in the video, or if there's if getting in that wood cabinet is that big of a difference, which I think that is a part of it. I feel like they maybe worked on some of the ramps or something. It just felt considerably different. There's better integration with the sound of the game, or maybe they just turned it up real loud, because it was kind of awesome, some of the sounds that were going with Lexi Lightspeed. I was pretty impressed. There are challenges to this platform, because it's not exactly traditional pinball. It's not a wood playfield with, plastic inserts and light bulbs underneath it. It's a video screen. But what they're doing today in 2015 with the video screen is just far superior than what they were doing just last year in 2014. The movement of the modes, of the levels, is just better. It's more immersive. There's the word. It's not submersive. It's not sticking me underwater. It's immersive in the fact that as I was playing this game, I really felt like I was kind of in it, and it's intuitive. It tells you what to do. The flippers are different. We've talked about this before because they can't drill holes through the video screen. The flippers are mounted in a completely different way, and they're different. But they're once you just start playing and get going, they're not that different. And I'd been playing a mix of tiny little Gottlieb mini flippers and all sorts of crazy things today. And going to the Lexi Lightspeed game, the flippers didn't bother me. They're close. It's getting closer. And they're doing a media event tomorrow that I'm going to try and be at, depending on my schedule. But I'm, definitely going to try and be there, where they're going to do kind of a deep dive into the platform. And I hope to get some more info on the changes they've made, more changes that are coming, et cetera, et cetera. But I got to tell you, if you're interested in the movement of pinball forward and the next thing and where it could go and what it could be, you need to follow the Multimorphic P3 project and watch what they're doing there, because it is definitely that. It's the future, and it just is. I've played all the virtual pinball. I play it on my iPad. I learn rules on it. I've played the full-size virtual games. There's a whole stack of them here at the show. It's just way better than that. It's way, way, way better than that. And it has the potential of giving you lots of games in one box, because the playfields, the back third of the playfield is swappable, and that's one of the main things. You could have different programming for the screen, different playfield architecture for the back, and swap out and have lots of games in one. So more to come on that. I plan on having Jerry join us for some, kind of floor interview type audio coverage here tomorrow. That's my goal. So P3. All right. I got to play Whoa Nelly Big Juicy Melons. I played it when I first got here, and there weren't a lot of people in there, and I could actually hear it all and kind of play it in silence. Greg Ferris was standing right next to me. I have no idea if he knows who I am or remembers me from the panel to Midwest Gaming Classic last year. But I played it. It's beautiful. The game's gorgeous. I have not talked about it a lot in the last few weeks since the pricing and info came out. It's $6,000 or $6,500. I don't even remember. I just know that it's expensive compared to what a lot of us, a lot of the community kind of thought it was going to be. It looks better than the photos even, and I thought it looked pretty good in photographs. But I gotta say, I wanted to love this project. I really did. I wanted this to be the start of Stern justifying building other types of games, I guess is what I would say. Because I think it would be so cool for Stern to go back into the old Stern games, early solid state games, and build one of those every year or two. Or go back and pull some, maybe not Data East, maybe, do another Chicago gaming project and build a game for them where they're using an old Bally or Williams license. I think that would be so cool. I want a brand new Firepower. I think it'd be awesome. So the idea with Whoa Nelly was, really the idea was Greg Ferris and Dennis Nordman wanted to just do a project out of their garage and retheme, an old EM. So what it's turned into is a solid state game running off of the new Stern Spike board that is totally retro style playfield and rule set and scoring. It has the look of an old EM game, and it plays somewhere in the middle, I guess, because it has the small flippers, has the little tiny flippers. It has a flat play field with no ramps. I think there's one. There's one saucer that kicks out, some stand-up targets, some rollovers, some pop bumpers, and it's cool. And I wanted to love it. It looks great. I don't even want to talk about the theme. I don't care about the theme. Forget the theme for right now. Let's just talk about the game as a game. I don't think that it's going to be that successful at $64.99. And I know that's not some news flash. And a lot of people are saying that, and there's been people arguing and people saying, I'm buying the game. I don't care what you think. And that's fine. There will be someone to buy anything, you know. But as far as hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, not going to happen. It just isn't. And it's kind of too bad, but you know, you have to remember, Stern has to cover its costs, and to run the line, it doesn't really matter what they're building. There's a certain inherent cost in just building anything in a factory. So those costs don't go down just because you don't have a bunch of extra ramps and lights and, you know, a moving monster on your game. Sorry. There are inherent costs there. You know, they're also building a game that they didn't design in-house. You know, Dennis Nordman and Greg Ferris, you know, Whiz Bang Pinball built this game, and there's got to be some money cut out for Whiz Bang Pinball in this game. So that adds back into it. Not a cheaply made game at all. So anybody thinking that this is like just some cheap thing, man, the cabinet with the wood, you know, kind of crate feel is not cheap feeling at all. In fact, it's incredibly robust feeling. You know, they had it set both with regular, you know, standard, you know, powder-coated legs, and then they also had it on the fruit crate design with, the, you know, the beer cans underneath the crates to create space. I played both. The one on the legs, obviously, felt like you could shift it more. But here's the problem. I could buy the entire vintage bank. I mean, almost. Or at least I could buy 5 or 6 EMs easily. In good shape. Good shape, well-kept EMs. With all these gameplay features that Wonelli has. And probably, I hate to say this, guys, probably better rule sets than from what I kind of was getting off of Wonelli. I could buy 5 games, vintage games, for the price I could buy a Wonelli at. And you're getting into, at that point, you're not selling Wonelli Big Juicy Melons based on the game. Now, it looks great. The art's beautiful. I mean, it's really, really pretty. And it's definitely something that if I had a big, giant space and lots of money and was just collecting the latest, greatest, and the prettiest, and they're rare and unique, it's something I would consider owning, for sure. But as a, you know, middle-of-the-road, middle-income, you know, American dude who works hard and spends a lot of his extra money on pinball, this isn't even in my ballpark. I mean, it's not even in the stratosphere for me. I just couldn't justify what I'm getting for $6,500 retail. And I know, it's retail. You can get it a little cheaper through a distributor. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. Say I get it for $600 or $700 less. Honestly, $5,000, I wouldn't. I don't think I would spend $4,000. So I start asking myself this question, and this is going to be the problem with Wonelli. Buyers are going to say, what would I spend on this game? And that number is just not a number that they're going to be able to build this game for, unfortunately. So it's going to have a tough go at it. It's so cool. I mean, it's cool. It's happening. It's cool. It's got sounds, it's got some call-outs, it's got, you know, stuff that EMs don't have, for sure. So it's not just an EM, because it has music, it has some modern stylings and features, and it has a little tiny LCD down on the apron that can keep track of stuff for you. Definitely cool. It's just, you run into a brick wall at some point where, what am I getting for my $6,000 here? Really, how much fun and enjoyment do I get? And there's also this identity crisis this game has that I find myself, I played all these EM games all day long, and then I went back tonight late at midnight to play Wonelli again, just to, you know, take it in, because I knew I was going to talk about it on the show. It's got the little vintage flippers, but they're on modern coils, and they're snappy, and you can backhand these shots, and it doesn't really even feel like a vintage game. It's this kind of in-between thing that, I mean, they're probably in their heads, that's probably the justification is, well, but it's so unique. Because, yes, I agree, it is unique. I just also don't think it's real sellable. And, hey, look, I've worked for companies, not currently. Taylor Guitars is actually awfully good about this. But my former company, PV Electronics, we built products a few times. Let me think of what this was. So we built a DJ mixer. It was called I forget. It was 3 letters. But anyway, so the idea, and this is like circa 2004, maybe 2003. We built this digital DJ mixer that you could digitally scratch music on. Okay, which today, in 2015, lots of things do that and do it very cheaply. But we built this American-made product that you could digitally slow down and mix music and crossfade and do all like DJing, like, you know, club DJing and mixing DJing. It was a DJ product in America in 2003 or 4, and it was $1,200. And here's the kicker: it didn't have a hard drive, so you had to have hook it up to a hard drive too, or a computer or an MP3. But it just had all these little things where it was cool. This thing did stuff that no other product did, but it was so expensive, and it just didn't quite fit the need. It didn't answer a question. Oftentimes with products, you're trying to fill a void or answer a question or solve a problem, and right now in this community, there is a need and a want for something other than the latest, greatest Stern, big movie, TV show, rock and roll band, pinball machine with, deep Lyman sheets, rules. There is a need for that. That's something that's not that. And that's why you've seen people throw money at Predator, at Spooky Pinball, at The Big Lebowski, at The Wizard of Oz. So there is that need. The problem is, the answer to that question is probably not a $6,500 quasi-EM, quasi-solid state, in-between game with super shallow rules and very little in the way of, like, playfield dynamics, if that makes sense. It's a tough one because everybody loves Greg and Dennis. Like, everybody. I've never talked to anyone that didn't instantly say, Dennis Norman, Greg Ferris, great guys. I hear that all the time. I get it. I only wish that I had people talking about me like that. But I watched people walk away after Ball 2 at the Texas Pinball Festival with this great game that's just announced to me. And that's not indicative, really. I shouldn't even say that. I take it back. But I did see it multiple times. It's tough. I don't know. I've heard production numbers in the 300 range. I'll be shocked if they sell 300 of those myself. I don't see it. I just don't see it. Maybe internationally. Maybe that's the ticket. I don't know. It's tough. It's a lot of money. A lot of things you could buy. There is not a Stern Pro model that I would not buy before I would buy Whoa Nelly, Big Juicy Melons. I'll put it that way. I would buy the Avengers Pro before I would buy Whoa Nelly, just because of what I'm getting, the value, and that is what it is. So I would buy 5 old wedge heads before I would buy Whoa Nelly. I would buy Stern, Meteor, a Black Hole, and that $1,200 Centigrade 37 that I played tonight in the tournament before I would buy Whoa Nelly. That's what I'm up against. There's just so much to do with my money other than buy this game that's shallow. So I get it. I've said my piece. You want to talk about the theme? Did I hear somebody just raise your hand across the universe and say, "But what about the theme, Nate? What are your thoughts on Nelly and her fruit?" I don't care. Like, whatever. It's fine. I'm not real sensitive to that sort of thing. And I know some of you are sitting there thinking, yeah, but you were just the one complaining about the boob pics on Pinside. Totally different. I'm not judging the breast photos on Pinside or the cleavage pics, whatever. I'm not. I'm just not. I'm judging threads getting hijacked by nonsense. And I will continue to feel that way. As far as the cheesecake and overt double entendre of Whoa Nelly, Big Juicy Melons doesn't really appeal to me all that much. I actually think the art style is very pretty and very beautiful, and I like that. And I would have no problems if it was just a game that I love to play. I'd be fine with it. It's fine. It doesn't bother me. Certainly, my wife, Teresa, does not care about stuff like that. She's fine. She's not. If I was buying the game, she'd just laugh and kind of roll her eyes at me. It's no big deal. I love women. If you're a woman listening to the show and you have a problem with Whoa Nelly, I'd really love to debate that because, I get it. I'm a mama's boy. Like, I love my mom. I love my sisters. I had 2 sisters, I grew up with 2 sisters and a mom. I love women. I think women are the best. But doesn't mean we can't also, have fun with with sexuality in this world a little bit. If the whole world was like that, that'd be a problem. And, you got to respect each other. That's just a person thing. So, I don't know. The theme is what it is. It's a throwback. It's a nod of the hat to, some of the old stuff that was in pinball. I'm okay with it. I don't have a problem. So, that's Whoa Nelly. I guess the last thing I want to talk about before I wrap up this episode 149, I go to bed because I'm tired, is I got to play The Hobbit tonight. And I'm going to play it again tomorrow. And I had emailed with Jack before the show, and Jack said he wasn't coming, but then he was there. I saw Jack there. And I got to play The Hobbit. And it's another game that I think is in much better shape than it was 6 or 7 months ago. It looks so much better. It looks really good, in fact. I think it's a very, very pretty game. It's still a wide open game, and it was sitting there, being played with a giant line. Easily the biggest line / crowd of anything at the show is The Hobbit. And what they've done with the artwork, what they've done with the movement of the book and addition of the LCD screen, the change of the upkicker wireforms, the powder coating of the wireforms, with Smag and all of that, A+. A+ looks great. I played it. It was set way too flat. Like, for crying out loud, steeping the game up. Like, if I see Jersey Jack people there tomorrow, I'm going to beg them to steepen that game up because it was just so floaty and flat. And that's just, I don't know. Does anybody set their game up like that? Like with that shallow of a playfield angle? Like, really? The ramps it felt better to me. I mean, maybe, I don't know. It felt better. The game felt way better. I actually was really enjoying it. It's going to be a good home environment game. It's like the LCD screen, though, the back box, which is, a video screen, it's just blow away. I mean, blows you away. You look at that with all the action and the way they've used movement in the video and movie clips and integrated that into the gameplay, it's really good. Like, Jersey Jack Pinball, if you don't want to give them any credit, if you want to, if you want to complain about delays in shipments or this or that, I don't know, or just not liking some of the molds of the little troll guys that pop up out of the playfield. You can complain about all that you want, but you have got to give it to them that they are figuring out this, display in the back glass thing. It's way better than Wizard of Oz. The integration is broken up in a better way. There's still a lot going on, and there's some of that is now repeated on the little LCD screen on the playfield. But what I saw of The Hobbit, and I only played one game, was a big step forward from Expo. I think people who are into this theme are going to love this game, and I think the more I get to play it, I'll be able to form a better opinion of it as a player. I like the ramps. I like the way the game looks. I really do. That blue sky that was on there before, I really didn't like that. I was not a fan. This darker sort of, rusty metal Middle-earth thing looks really cool. Makes for just a beautiful game. People were loving it. I asked everybody I was in line with, what'd you think? Everyone had positive things to say, so I think that bodes really well for Jersey Jack Pinball. And as they get closer to releasing the game, I would welcome anybody involved with the project. And I've talked to multiple people, on and off the record about the project. Anybody that wants to come on this show and talk about it and how they got there is more than welcome. I'll, of course, be inviting Jack on the show, who he said he'd come on anytime, but I kind of want to wait till the game's about ready to ship. But A+ for the makeover. I need more time on the game to talk more about how it plays, but it seemed like it was shooting pretty good. I'm excited for it. There's a lot more to talk about at Texas Pinball Festival. A lot of vendors with cool products. I mean, I saw side mirrors. In fact, I saw side mirrors for America's Most Haunted. That side blades, pin blades, that were just awesome. If I wasn't so averse to carrying a big box with mirrors in it on my way home, pinballsidemirrors.com. They gave me their card, so pinball side mirrors, just fantastic. They had a custom America's Most Haunted with yellow armor in their booth, and a really beautiful X-Men limited edition with some cool mods and great armor there. Very friendly folks. Cointaker, Measle Mods, Marco Specialties, tons of vendors. I'll try and get around to as many people as I can tomorrow. I want to talk to Goonies Pinball guy tomorrow, I'll know his name by this time tomorrow. There's a Spinal Tap pinball machine that I glanced at. I walked by. I need to figure out the story on that. Lots going on. Looking forward to a long day tomorrow at the Texas Pinball Festival on day 2. So that's episode 149 here on Friday night, March 27th, 2015. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for all the shirts you guys have bought. I mailed a lot of shirts. I ordered 100 of that new shirt, and I have very few left. So thank you guys a lot. It warms my heart like you don't know to walk into a place like the Texas Pinball Festival and see multiple people wearing this podcast t-shirt. Blows me away. I thank you so much for that. Yeah, if you want to email me, it's coast2coastpinball@gmail.com. I have not gotten back to anybody in email lately, but I've read everything, so I'm just super busy and trying to keep my head above water. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you again real soon.